All right, what is going on? Happy Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday already. We had a short week this week because we had a long weekend. Canadian Thanksgiving. Which brings me to today's video. Sort of. Kind of, but not really. Let's play out a little scenario for you here. So you come in on a Tuesday after a relaxing long weekend. You're gonna take your favorite pump out for a rip. You know, she's an older pump, but your favorite nonetheless. You got her all dialed in. Everything just the way you like. You keep it perfect so you can operate efficiently, professionally, look like a pro out there, you know? Everything's where it should be, everything works, right? We're off to a good start. But you come into the yard and you find this just laying here. The wires were actually, it was worse, the wires were actually touching. This is the cable that goes to the hopper vibrator. So last Friday, I'm not going to name the operator. He's probably my favorite operator to work with. He's one of my favorite guys. You all know him, but we won't name him. Jeff over there, Muddy Feet, you know him, and you know him well. He's a regular. I guess he had her out on Friday and was washing out or whatever. A little extra slack on the cable. Let her get a little dangly, and she got intimate with the agitator paddles. It happens, right? For frick's sake, tell me about it so I can fix it. And all day Tuesday I could have fixed this thing. It sat here all day. But yeah, you can't fix what you don't know, right? And to make matters worse, you gotta hop in the cab of the truck here. A little keepsake, just to add insult to injury, right? You bugger, you know who you are. You're lucky that I like you so much and that you're great to work with and do so many things fantastically well. And I won't use the word hate, but I strongly dislike you for this. Just for right now. It's okay, I'll fix it, it'll all be good. Anyhow, the point of today's video, you got a brand new vibrator. Comes with the cable attached to it. Comes with the plug that goes in the back of the electrical panel there. So what we're going to do here, and the reason why I'm replacing it, this vibrator was on the way out anyhow. You'd periodically have to tap it with a hammer to get it to come on. So we are, once I find the bolts there, we're just going to unbolt this thing. We'll bolt the new one on. You're probably asking, why do we put the vibrator on the underside of the hopper? Well, to protect it from the chutes of the mixer truck as they back in. You're probably saying, but then it's always sitting in the concrete. It's gonna get dirty. Well, they get dirty anyhow, but also where it sits, most of the time the level of the concrete is kinda below-ish that anyhow. But yeah, not something that we're super concerned about anyway. So that's why we put it here. Why do we put it in the center, you ask? If it's offset to the one side as they come from the factory, on the boom pumps at least, I can't remember on the TK series where they come mounted. The dowel on this hopper grate as well as this bushing, it absolutely beats the crap out of it just on the one side. Putting it in the middle not only equalizes the wear, but reduces it greatly. So you're not taking all that wear and splitting it 50-50. It actually ends up being like, based on longevity and how often we replace these, you probably reduce your wear by about 20%, or sorry, to about 20%, and it's equal between both sides. So definitely 100% cannot recommend strongly enough. Mount the hopper vibrator in the middle, whether you want to go inverted or not. It's debatable. It's just something we do. I think it's fine the other way. For the mixer to get right back into that thing, he's got to be really out of it, which can happen, as we all know. So what we're going to do here, while we're on the topic, when I change this out, these caps, these end caps come off, and there's weights that can be adjusted in there, inside there. Generally don't play around with that too much, but you can turn them up, turn them down based on your needs. I'm probably not going to get into that today with the new one. We'll just get her installed here and run it for a couple days, and if it needs to be adjusted, maybe that's a separate video. But keeping in mind these caps here, see there's that little dent there. When you're cleaning these off, chipping them, air chiseling, whatever, if you hit those caps dent them enough, it can keep the weights from spinning. So you don't want to do that. That's the other benefit of having it inverted rather than conventional top side up, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, we'll throw the new vibrator on. New cable comes with it. That's easy peasy. There's about a 99.9% chance, because of the way this broke and the wires were touching, that it's popped the fuse inside the panel there. So we'll open the panel up, we'll chuck a new fuse in, and we should be ready to rock. So most of the work here is just going to be cleaning all this off. So I think I have a needle scaler around here. If not, maybe I'll just use my small chipping hammer. I'll chip these things off, and then we'll get cracking on taking those bolts off. Alright, just like that, we got the bolts all clean on both sides. This would be a great job for an air ratchet or a battery powered impact gun, but I don't have one here today, so it's gonna be a pain in the butt because it's nylon washers on this side. It's still not too terrible. I'm just I'm being a bit of a wussy here, wussy McNinnykins. So I'll grab my hand tools, we'll buzz this thing off. Alright, so this is easy, just a 17 mil wrench, 17 mil socket. Good old metric system. It's an amazing thing, right? Comment on that down below. I'm sure lots of people will. There we go. The magic moment. Goodbye, old vibrator. So yeah, if I was just replacing the cable, there's a backing plate here that you pop off, undo this plastic nut, feed the new cable and reattach it. But she's going to the dumpster. So there we go, old, new. The nice thing about these ones, it's a real deal Putz vibrator. It comes with the cord, comes with the connector too. So clean this up a bit with our Goodson Super Scraper, one of the handiest tools ever for a concrete pumper. Nice heavy carbide tip. And obviously for this we are going to reinstall with nylon locking washers, or locking nuts I should say, because it is a vibrator. Anything else is going to vibrate off. Every other bolt is a 17. This guy here is a 15. Ah, the metric system never fails me. Just like that. Vibrator is on. Obviously it's an extremely simple mechanical procedure. So we'll run the cable. We had zip ties fastened to the underside of the grate here. I've seen guys do like a hard steel tube and run it through that, which is actually a really slick way of doing it. We just haven't got that sophisticated with it yet. But before I spend all my time routing that, first thing I do, I'm going to pop this panel open and check to see if that vibrator fuse is blown, and I'm almost certain it will be. So let's get into that. We have this special guard that we've built so that a little tough here, one hand dead. There we go. So loading hoses on and off the truck, we don't wipe out any of the buttons or switches on the panel here. That's been a really handy feature over the years. So you can see it doesn't keep it from getting really dirty still, but nothing's busted, so that's good. I'll flip this one hose out of the way. There we go. Let's see which one of these is the vibrator. I'm trying to remember. I used to have it written right on here. Oh, you know what? Cover fell down here. Yeah, that makes sense. So it looks like the 20 amp. Let's get a little better view here. 20 amp fuse is going to be the one that's for the vibe. Let's see what we got. Wow, it's not even blown. That is the most amazing thing ever. Well, my suspicion would be that the vibrator was turned off when the cable got wrapped in there and caught. So that's good. We like that. Okay, we'll just put this guy back in here. So tough to do with one hand on the camera, one hand on the fuse from this precarious position. But yeah, I always found it a good idea to label the more critical fuses, things like cooling fans, vibrator, things like that. The stuff that goes blows more commonly and is usually a quick, easy, simple fix. So look at this. I just found something else here. It's good to climb around your pump once in a while. Oh, there goes my coffee. No. Lid stayed on. Yes. Win. Look at this. Look at this. What is this business? Good. I'm glad I spotted that. We will reconnect that here. Yikes. While you're in there. Who needs wrenches when you got the best tool ever? Vice grips. If I can only have one tool on a truck, vice grips is that tool. Hands down, no questions asked. And maybe a flat blade screwdriver, that too. I'm glad I noticed this when I did. And it looks like we just caught it because there wasn't too much of an accumulation of grease laying down here. There's a little bit, but nothing crazy. There, we fixed something. You know what? Let's do the right thing and check the other side while we're here. That's tight. How that even came off to begin with is surprising, but it did. Stuff happens. Yeah, maybe just from the slewing cylinders back and forth and working the line side to side, vibrated loose, eventually spun off, who knows. Okay, back to where we are. Back to our task at hand. Task at hand is plug this vibrator and see what it does. That's the task at hand. Okay, I'll key this thing on just so we have power. Don't need to have the truck running though. We are keyed up. Sure. Lights come on the panel, yep. Put our hopper grate down. Vibrator, I think this way is on. Maybe this way is on. Oh, and it's not working. Really? Maybe the wiring is not quite right in the harness there. What I suspect is the wires inside that plug are not orientated the same. So I'm going to pull both plugs apart. And honestly, I totally should have done that first. That would be the proper thing to do. But I made an assumption. And I think my assumption was wrong. So, speaking of assumptions, let's at least take a test light. And yes, that fuse looked okay. But we'll take a test light and verify that it is actually getting power back there. So, okay, so we 100% have power at the fuse. Both sides of the fuse. So we know we're good there. Okay, so it's got to be in this plug. It's got to be in the plug. So we'll pull this apart and have a look. Vice grips again, people. Vice grips for the win. I just remember how these plugs come apart. All right, so we made progress here. I was just going to reference the old power cord. Sorry, the other side of the old power cord is for how to orientate these wires within the plug. The problem is, as soon as I went to pull it apart, the wires came out, so we will never know. So I did up here. Got my test light grounded in the control panel there. If I turn the pump on from the remote, pump is activated, green light's on. We can see the top terminal here. We have power, so our ground here is obviously not going to the proper terminal. So if I test the other two terminals that are vacant, there's no power there. So I'm just going to unscrew that ground terminal. I'm going to try and find which one of these will get that vibrator rocking and rolling. Apparently you can reverse these wires and the vibrator will still work, the power and ground. Apparently one way the vibrator will be much more powerful than the other way. So there's a better way to have them hooked up. So I'll find which way that is. But let's just see here. I'm going to undo this with the world's smallest flathead screwdriver, and then we'll test this out. All right, so we move this wire from the bottom terminal, one terminal over there, tighten the set screw down, and woo! She is shaking. Sweet. If I had a proper multimeter that could test for ohms, I could have just found ground using that tool, but all I got is this test light here. So yeah, so that's what the issue was. The wires were orientated not properly for this pump. So I got that all figured out, wiring set. I'll tighten this connector back up, reassemble it, and then we'll route our cable here, so that hopefully we don't have to revisit this process anytime super soon here. So I'll just show you how I like to fasten this thing. I take a zip tie, let's pass it through this one small hole up top here, just like that. Let me feed her back through, something like that. And then we feed her back through, something like this, tighten it down. I'll loop it through itself here. Loop it through itself, which takes a little bit of finagling, something like that. And boom, there we go. Now I don't have a tie coming around the outside of the screen to get worn or nicked or rubbed on or broken, so we drop this girl down. I don't do anything fancy here. I just have it come up and over just like so, and then I'll run this underneath here and I'll get rid of the slack up in this area. I'll bundle it up. All right, so just like that, we are finished. New vibrator install, cord mounted, routed, zip tied in place. Something like this, something like that, something like that. Sits right in there when the lid is down. Enough slack I can flip the grate up. Pump on. Oh, it's so nice. The reason why I am so big on having a working hopper grade vibrator is because I am eternally running double screen, because we run all this 2-inch line. So I double screen it. Without a good working vibrator, you'll never get the mud through that secondary screen. So, and even if you don't run a secondary screen, especially if you're doing a lot of shotcrete or just dry mixes, it's so nice to have the vibrator. It keeps the hopper cleaner too. As far as mounting them on the hopper, some guys do that. I find it doesn't vibrate the grate nearly enough. We've tried that and it just didn't work, so we put them back onto the hopper grate. I guess the nice thing about putting them on the hopper, it's not as hard on the bushings and dowels, but we've actually had where it's actually cracked the metal on the hopper when they're vibrated there too. So it's a bit of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other kind of thing. So anyhow, super easy job. This is like a difficulty level 1.5 out of 5 for something like this. This is so easy. Just nice to get it fixed up. All that being said, I was gonna put my coveralls on, and I thought, nah, nice easy job, there's no point. I'll stay nice and clean. Yeah, I knew I should have. Anyhow, that's it for today. We're gonna go out, we're gonna pump some concrete with this thing now, and gonna show off my shiny new grate vibrator. It's just such a shame it's gonna get dirty. Don't worry there, grate vibrator. We'll keep you well coated in canola oil for the duration of your life, I promise. So anyhow, that'll be it for today. Stay safe, keep it shiny side up. The operator whom did this, you know who you are. You might be a regular in the comments. Explain yourself. I love you, I do. You're one of my favorite guys to work with, you're awesome. But still explain yourself. Over and out.